Activists in hundreds of cities protested income inequality and unemployment. They say troubled banks get bailed out by taxpayers, but ordinary people with financial problems face foreclosures.
We're losing our house. Bank of America is taking my house.
The Occupy movement blames the financial crisis on banks and Wall Street and says the wealthiest 1% of the population gets too much money and takes advantage of the 99%, buying political power to block taxes on the rich and cut social services for the poor. The Occupy movement seeks a more equitable society through more taxes on the wealthy and more regulation of business. But Peter Wallison of the American Enterprise Institute says lower taxes and less business regulation would help the economy. He says the growth of high-tech firms like Apple Computer show government should get out of the way of entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs. Wallison says income inequality is less important than the possibility of getting rich, which drives entrepreneurs to take risks and create products.
Many of these people grew up in very poor circumstances. Steve Jobs was a great example of that, and turned out to be a very wealthy man because of the things that he was able to do in our very flexible society.
But John Cavanagh of the Institute for Policy Studies says high unemployment raises doubts about the rags to riches story.
I think why the Occupy movement has struck such a chord here and been so popular is they are the living embodiment that that story is no longer true.
The Congressional Budget Office says the richest 1% of the U.S. population saw its income jump 275% over the past 3 decades, while the poorest 1/5 gained just 18%. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development shows the wealthiest 1/10 of U.S. society has an income 14 times the size of that of the poorest 1/10. OECD Secretary General Angel Gurria says inequality is a problem.
The social compact is starting to unravel in many countries. Uncertainty and fears of social decline and exclusion have reached the middle class in many societies. People feel that they are bearing the brunt of a crisis for which they have no responsibility, while those on high incomes appear to have been spared.
The protesters say they will continue as long as the economic problems that sparked the demonstrations, such as unemployment, remain unsolved. Jim Randall, VOA News, Washington.